It happens faster than you think. Your phone rings. You pick up. Someone says your name. And in that exact moment, without pausing, without thinking, you say, yes. Just like that. 3 letters. And the trap is already set. That one word, just 3 letters, may have just cost you thousands of dollars. And the worst part? You had absolutely no idea it even happened. Here is the truth that debt collectors hope you never find out. They are not calling to have a conversation with you. They are calling to get specific words out of your mouth, words that they will use against you legally. They are trained for this. They do this every single day. And most people walk right into the trap because nobody ever told them what those words are. Today, that changes. I am going to show you exactly 4 words and phrases that you must never say when a debt collector calls, why each one is legally dangerous, and I am going to give you the exact replacement phrases so you are never caught off guard again. Stay with me, because number 3 on this list is the one that silently destroys most people and almost nobody talks about it. But first, you need to understand why this call is happening at all. Because when you understand the business model behind debt collection, everything else makes perfect sense. When you fall behind on a credit card, a medical bill, or a personal loan, the original company waits for a period of time, usually 90 to 180 days. Then, instead of continuing to chase you themselves, they sell your debt. They sell it to a third-party collection agency for pennies on the dollar. We are talking sometimes as low as 3 cents for every dollar you owe. So, if your debt is $5,000, that collection agency may have purchased it for $150. Now they are calling you to collect the full $5,000. That gap between what they paid and what they collect, that is their entire business. And the more you say on that phone call, the easier their job becomes. Now, before we get into the 4 words, you need to know the law that is standing behind you right now. Because this law is your shield, and you need to understand it before you pick up another collector call. It is called the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, the FDCPA. This federal law has been in place since 1977, and it was specifically created to protect consumers, meaning you, from abusive, deceptive, and unfair debt collection practices. And in 2026, under the updated Regulation F rules that expanded the FDCPA, here is exactly what collectors are legally prohibited from doing. They cannot call you before 8 a.m. or after 9 p.m. your local time. They cannot call your workplace if you have told them your employer does not allow such calls. They cannot use threatening, abusive, or obscene language. They cannot tell you that you will be arrested for a debt, because debt in the United States is a civil matter, not a criminal one, and no collector has the power to have you arrested. They cannot lie about who they are, what company they represent, or how much you owe, and they cannot discuss your debt with anyone other than you, your spouse, or your attorney. On top of that, they are required by law to send you a written validation notice within 5 days of their first contact with you. This notice must include the name of the original creditor, the amount of the debt, and information about your right to dispute it. Until they send you that verification, they are not supposed to continue collection activity. And here is the part that most people never use. Every single violation of the FDCPA gives you the right to sue that collector for up to $1,000 in statutory damages, plus actual damages, plus attorney fees. So, if they call you at 7 a.m., that is a violation. If they threaten arrest, that is a violation. If they use abusive language, that is a violation. Each one is worth money to you if you document it properly. Now you understand your weapon. Let's talk about the 4 words that hand that weapon right back to them. The first word is yes. The call begins. The collector says, "Hello, is this you?" He says your full name, and you say, "Yes." That single word just confirmed your identity to a debt collector on a recorded line. Now, here is why that matters. Under the FDCPA, a collector cannot legally proceed with a debt collection conversation with someone whose identity has not been confirmed. The moment you say yes and confirm who you are, that conversation becomes legally usable. Now they know they have the right person. Knowing your name and you legally confirming your identity are two completely different things. What you say instead is this: "Who is calling, and what is this regarding?" That is it. You asked the question. You confirmed nothing. Now they must identify themselves before you say a single word about yourself. You just flipped the entire dynamic of that call. The second phrase is, "I know." The collector continues. "We are calling about your old Citibank account ending in 4532 with a balance of $3,200. And you say, 'I know.' 2 words. And they just became evidence against you. The reason this is so dangerous is because 'I know' is a legal acknowledgement. You have just confirmed that the account exists, that it belongs to you, and that you are aware of the debt. But here is the part that makes this even more serious. In many states across the US, an acknowledgement like this can restart what is called the statute of limitations on your debt. The statute of limitations is the time period during which a collector can legally take you to court to collect a debt. Depending on your state, this window is typically between 3 to 6 years. After that window closes, they can still call you, but they cannot sue you in court. However, if your debt is 5 years old and almost expired, and you say, "I know," on a recorded call, in many states, you have just reopened that window and given them a fresh ability to sue you. What you say instead is this: "I am not confirming any account information over the phone. Please send me written debt validation, including the original creditor, the full amount claimed, and your license to collect debt in my state." That is your legal right under Section 809 of the FDCPA. They must provide this in writing. And until they do, you are protected. The third phrase is, "I'll pay." This is the one that quietly destroys the most people. The collector has been talking for a few minutes. Maybe they mentioned your credit score dropping. Maybe they mentioned the possibility of a lawsuit. You feel pressured. You feel like cooperating will make this easier. So you say, "I'll pay. I just need a little more time." You meant well. You were being honest. But here is what just happened legally. First, you confirmed the debt is yours. Second, in virtually every state, a promise to pay resets the statute of limitations. Not actual payment, just the promise. The words "I'll pay," spoken out loud on a recorded call, are treated as a new acknowledgement of the debt in most U.S. jurisdictions. Third, and this is the most critical part, if this debt was already past the statute of limitations and they had no legal ability to sue you anymore, your words may have just handed that ability back to them. What you say instead is this: "I am not making any payment commitments over the phone. Please send written verification of this debt to my mailing address, and I will review my options." You have now protected your legal position completely. You have not confirmed the debt. You have not promised anything. And you have not restarted any clock. The fourth phrase is, "I'm sure." This one sounds harmless. The collector asks, "You do recognize this debt, right? This is from your old account. You remember this, don't you?" And you say, "I'm sure, yes, I think that's mine." That combination of "I'm sure" with any detail about the debt is a complete legal confirmation on a recorded line. And here's something that most people do not fully realize. Collection agencies record every single call. This is not casual. They have supervisors who listen to these calls. They have legal teams that review them. When you speak to a debt collector, you are not having a conversation. You are making a recorded statement that can be used in a legal proceeding against you. What you say instead is this: I do not confirm or deny any debt over the phone. If this is a legitimate debt, please send written verification and I will respond from there. Now let me give you the complete call script, word for word, so the next time they call you are completely prepared. When they ask for your name, say, "Who is calling and what is this regarding?" When they identify their company, say, "What is the name of the original creditor on this account?" When they describe the debt, say, "I am not confirming any information by phone. I am requesting written debt validation under FDCPA Section 809. Please mail full verification to my address." When they pressure you to pay immediately, say, "I will not make any payment arrangements until I receive written verification of this debt." When they mention consequences or threats, say, "I am aware of my rights under the FDCPA. Any violations, including threats or misrepresentation, will be reported to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and my state attorney general." And when you are ready to end the call, say, "Please note this call is being recorded. Send all future communication in writing only." Then hang up. That is 6 responses. That covers every pressure point they have in their script. After the call ends, do 3 things immediately. Write down the exact time, date, the collector's full name, the company name, and every specific thing they said during that call. Do it within the next 5 minutes while it is still fresh. Then go to annualcreditreport.com, which is the only federally authorized free credit report site, and check if this debt is appearing on your report. If it is listed incorrectly, that is a separate dispute you have the right to file directly with the credit bureaus under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. And if the collector violated anything during that call, called outside legal hours, threatened arrest, used abusive language, or refused to identify themselves, go to cfpb.gov and file a complaint. It takes less than 10 minutes. Companies are legally required to respond within 15 days, and that complaint becomes part of the federal record against that collection agency. Here is the bottom line. Debt collectors are operating a business, and that business runs on information you give them voluntarily because you did not know you had a choice. Now you do. 4 phrases: yes, I know, I'll pay, I'm sure. Remove them completely from every collector call you ever take. Replace them with the script I gave you today. And remember, the FDCPA exists specifically because the government recognized that ordinary people needed protection from this industry. That protection is yours. Use it. If this helped you, subscribe right now, because next week I am covering what happens when a debt collector actually files a lawsuit against you, and the one legal document you can file yourself that stops them cold before you ever have to walk into a courtroom.